Hello, my name is Alejandra Arroyo. I'm a third year occupational therapy student. I'm at Northern Arizona University, currently working on my Capstone project. So my Capstone project is centered around diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in OT, working with my department, working with our state association in Arizona, and working with COTAD board members, including Dr. Hoyt.
My name is Catherine Hoyt. I'm an instructor at Washington University Program in Occupational Therapy and serving as Alejandra's Capstone mentor. So today we're going to give you a little brief overview of Alejandra's Capstone project and how she got here. So if you wouldn't mind getting us started, Alejandra, and tell us a little bit about how you became interested in diversity, equity, and inclusion in occupational therapy.
Yeah, so I myself am a first generation Mexican American here in the US, and it's always been a topic of conversation just kind of growing up and being in clubs through high school and in college, surrounding myself in kind of social justice or equity and inclusion focused organizations. And so it kind of came naturally when I went into OT school, but definitely the advocacy part came more so in OT school just because I personally experienced a bit of a culture shock coming in. Like I did move into a bigger town, and then also being in an environment that was all healthcare professions, and just the demographics in the OT profession kind of incited that more advocacy part of me. And then I think my love for OT, in the fact that it is holistic and client centered, and wanting to feel like I was entering a more inclusive environment at all times. And so that kind of those combinations of circumstances kind of created this love for DEI and OT.
I'm so glad. Thank you for sharing. Can you tell me a little bit about how you ended up doing a capstone with COTAD?
Yeah, so my first year of OT school, I actually went to the National AOTA conference and met COTAD leaders and students that actually started their own chapters. And so that excited me. It was already something that I was interested in hopefully starting at our school. So it created this chain reaction, and getting to meet more people from COTAD and falling in love with the organization and the purpose and the mission. So really found a support system and a group of individuals who are also really passionate about advocacy. So started a COTAD chapter at NAU, and then kind of kept in touch with leaders with COTAD. And I knew pretty early on that I wanted to do something related to DEI and OT for my capstone project. So COTAD kind of seemed like the natural place to do that. And once I reached out, people were very receptive to that. And I got matched with Dr. Hoyt because of this interest in more so like academia and curriculum topics, and kind of found my way through just connecting and asking. Really was the big part, was just asking if there was a space for it and people being receptive to that idea.
That sounds like something that would be really helpful for people to hear, really that just self-reflection and thinking about what was important to you and what your interests were, and asking questions to find that person and that connection for what could be good for you and what your learning needs are. That's maybe my reflection on it, but can you tell me a little bit about what your experience has been like doing a capstone with COTAD?
Yeah, I definitely think it's been unique. Although, the pandemic has led to a lot more virtual and remote circumstances. I think the idea originally was to do this remote regardless. And so then that did help for sure, is already kind of being comfortable with remote situations. And so that was definitely unique, but I think it's been a great learning experience because I have been able to connect with people all over the country. Dr. Hoyt has been very encouraging of, connecting and mentorship and finding new people and finding new avenues of learning. And I think also working with COTAD has really given me the opportunity to work on my leadership skills, work on my writing skills, work on, these opportunities that I might not have gotten the opportunity to do otherwise. So getting connected and learning the different experiences of different people has definitely helped. With COTAD was a huge benefit, but also being able to work with mentors who have been doing this work for years and have those experiences, and they can advocate for you, but also provide that mentorship with that same mindset that you have going into the profession has been incredible and a huge benefit.
I'm glad to hear that. Can you give just a brief synopsis? I know you gave a little bit of one in the very beginning, but just what are the types of things that you've been doing as part of your capstone?
Yeah, so with COTAD specifically, I've been working on a diverse case study library that they're hoping to publish sometime in the next year. And so trying to recruit and encourage individuals and create kind of a system on how to recruit case study writers. And then also working on attending a lot of educational events through COTAD and reflecting and seeing how I can apply that practice in the future. Also working on different projects to advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion in the profession.
That's wonderful. Have there been any highlights for things that you feel that you've learned or gained from this experience?
Yeah, I think definitely one of the projects that I'm also working on is hopefully, I did a literature review at the beginning of my capstone project, and then got to summarize a lot of those articles and start to hopefully apply that to other projects. But with the encouragement and mentorship through Dr. Hoyt, was encouraged to write an article. And so that's definitely a huge thing that I've been working on, is my writing skills. And I think just advocating for myself in general has been a big lesson throughout this time, working on, program development and communication styles. And I think just overall professional development has been a huge skill set, especially working with a team that, like I mentioned, is so well versed in these topics. So getting to see that through them and hopefully reflecting that in my future work, I've been able to grow in that sense as well.
That's great. Has there been anything in particular that's been the most helpful, or what would you say has been, the best part for you?
I think reflecting back on it, the skills have been really important, but I think just getting to connect with other people and building what I hope are, lifelong relationships that will be mutually beneficial, but also just getting to connect with others has been a huge benefit.
I think, I think connecting is a really important part of the capstone experience. What would you recommend for other students who are looking to do this type of work?
I would definitely recommend, like I said, reaching out, just asking, getting comfortable with communicating with others and asking questions and getting connected. I think doing some self-reflection on what you're hoping to accomplish and the skill sets that you're hoping to build. Also, what type of skills, is it research? Is it program development? Is it education? Start focusing on that specifically. And then doing a needs assessment, what is needed, figuring out who do you want to work with, to what level, and if is it individual communities, is it an organization, and doing a needs assessment with them and with a practitioner who is well versed in those communities, so then they can also give you some insight on what's needed.
That's really great advice. Where can other people get information if they're interested in learning a little bit more about your experience or the steps that you took to get here?
Yeah, so recently we were able to write a COTAD Courier article, and so that will be published, and that will be accessed. That can be accessed through COTAD, and then there's also going to be a graphic attached to that, which kind of gives you some big overall tips and tricks on things to keep in mind and things to do if interested in incorporating diversity, equity, and inclusion in your capstone project.
I'm certain that that's going to be very, very helpful for a lot of people. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, or any other thoughts or ideas that you have about your capstone?
I think just, staying passionate with these topics is so important. I think the big thing that I learned is every capstone project looks so different, especially when you're trying to incorporate diversity, equity, and inclusion in that. It can be really personal topics sometimes, so definitely just taking care of yourself, but also knowing that the work is needed. So, feel validated in that, and then definitely just reaching out to people, even if your mentorships look different. If you have more personal mentorship styles or you have some that are more professional, just keeping that all in balance, I think is really helpful. So then you stay passionate on these topics and you stay motivated while also getting those action items out there, getting things that are going to push the profession forward is always really helpful. So keep balance with everything.
That's great advice. Thank you so much, Alejandra.
Thank you.